Cartooning often gets a bad rap by parents who feel that their children are wasting their time and skills on drawing them. Instead, they think and suggest that their talents would be better suited by practicing traditional fine art styles and techniques. Well, we may wish to reconsider this. Comics have played a huge influence on contemporary artists. Since the middle of the 20th century, comics and cartoon characters have made appearances in the fine art world. This video will not explore comics as an art form, but rather showcase these established fine art artists who have incorporated comics, manga, or cartooning into their art. These artists have decided to simply use comics as a tool for their own personal styles, to appropriate popular culture, and/or to use them as parodies or symbols of society, culture, and consumerism. Let's dive in.
Artists who use comics.
Art, illustration, and design have all begun to blur to some extent in contemporary times. Just like in music, artists have begun to cross-reference, sample, and merge approaches from outside of their own respective fields and genres. For example, lowbrow and street art, once on the fringes of society, have now moved into galleries. In my opinion, this has made things a lot more interesting and a little harder to pigeonhole certain artists. Let's look at several artists that have used comics or manga as fine art. We will start off with our first heavyweight. Roy Lichtenstein was an American artist that gained worldwide fame as part of the pop art movement in the 1960s. He was known for his comic appropriations and his use of Ben-Day dots that mimicked early printing techniques. Keith Haring grew out of New York graffiti culture of the 1980s. Haring's work was made of repeated, stylized figures and animals in bright, vibrant colors and outlined in black, with a strong emphasis on line. Much of his work alluded to social activism. Joyce Pensato used abstract expressionist techniques, combined with pop culture motifs. Her work appears aggressive and gestural. Her large-scale charcoal drawings included characters like Homer Simpson and Batman, showing the dark side of popular culture. If we look into the work of Asian artists, particularly from Japan, we will witness a lot of manga influence. Manga has a long tradition in Japan and is not looked down upon as an adolescent pastime. Since the 1960s, Keiichi Tanaami has been a prominent figure in Japanese post-war art. He has worked as a graphic designer and is a versatile artist that has influenced several contemporary artists worldwide. He was an avid manga reader while growing up, and also witnessed the hardships of growing up during war. His work is colorful, psychedelic, and mixes elements from the East and West. Takashi Murakami is one of the most famous and collectible artists today. He portrays kawaii and creepy cartoon characters in his paintings, sculptures, and even toys, and is the founder of the Superflat movement. Superflat also believed that there was no distinction between high and low culture, which Murakami fully embraced. Yoshitomo Nara is often associated with neo-pop art and the Superflat movements. His work is easily identifiable for his illustrative portraits of children who often appear angry or menacing. Makoto Aida is widely recognized in Japan for his manga-influenced provocative works that fuse eroticism and the grotesque. Hisashi Tenmyouya describes his style as Neo-Nihonga. Nihonga literally means Japanese-style painting, which was used to distinguish itself from Western painting traditions during the Meiji era. Tenmyouya's work uses this traditional style in a contemporary setting. His work often involves warriors and weapons. Ai Yamaguchi portrays the lives of young females. Her work depicts them in a wide variety of poses in a manga style reminiscent of the Edo period. Madsaki, born in Japan and raised in America, is known for his acrylic and spray paint works that often mimic famous compositions from art and film with a street art sense and simplified smiley face. Taiwanese American artist Myoung-Jin is another highly collectible contemporary artist. He started off as a cover illustrator for Marvel and DC Comics. His large-scale works depict fantasy worlds with elements from Chinese and Japanese scroll painting, and mixes old historical genres with new allegorical themes that also blend elements from the East and the West. Hong Kong-based artist Tikka Ng mixes aspects of traditional Chinese culture and lovable baby characters. Chinese artist Young Na uses figurative art inspired by animation and video games. Her portraits depict a self-absorbed world of beauty, fashion, and appearance. Chinese-Australian artist Zhong Chen's work explores issues of historical and contemporary cultural identity, as well as his own feelings of belonging, echoing ancient Chinese iconography. Korean artist Dongi Lee is known for his Atom Mouse character, which is a combination of the Japanese animated character Atom and Mickey Mouse. It was created as a witty response to globalization in Korean popular culture. Myoung-Jin Kim is a rising Korean artist that uses cute cartoon characters in his work. His later work tends to lean more towards abstraction. Singaporean artist Andre Tan uses pop art sensibilities to explore popular icons and cultural motifs under a bright color palette. Several of these contemporary Asian artists are blending the old with the new, and even Western sensibilities with Eastern approaches. Let's shift gears and look into the West, particularly with the influence of street art. One of the most popular street artists is Richard Mirando. This legend is also known as Scene and is revered as the grandfather of graffiti. In the 1980s, his work moved from the street and into galleries. Scene's work focuses on painting comic book heroes. American Brian Donnelly, more commonly known by his street name of Kaws, is widely known for bringing street art to the fine art market, as well as bridging art and consumerism through his various collaborations. He started off in the animation industry and has become widely known for his recognizable companion character, his large-scale sculptures, as well as his hard-edge paintings that appropriate cartoon characters. Faile are a Brooklyn-based street art duo that collage various appropriated materials from both Asian and American culture. They create works from found imagery and blur the line between high and low culture. Kostas Sarametis is clearly influenced by comic books, graffiti, and Greek mythology. His work has a pop sensibility and often uses overlapping or mashes of popular characters. Deface, or Dean Stockton, is a British street artist that satirizes popular culture through consumerism and the American dream. His work references cartoon characters and celebrities with signifiers of death, overconsumption, and greed. His work evokes the style of Roy Lichtenstein, which we mentioned earlier. Opake One is another British artist that depicts cartoon characters against a graffiti-styled background with tags and calligraphy. British artist Julian Opie uses simple, graphic figures similar to ones used in traffic signs. Some of his depersonalized portraits are also of a flat, hard-edged style with simplified lines, color planes, and dot-like eyes. George Morton-Clark initially studied animation, and his work is easily recognizable for his spontaneous overlapping cartoon characters set in a lively, abstract atmosphere. Arturo Herrera is a Venezuelan artist known for his mixing of cartoons and collage. He borrows discarded innocent images that are at times easily recognizable, but then also reworks them into an abstract manner through paint and sculpture. Speedy Graffito is considered a French pioneer of street art. Graffito uses recognizable characters with a clear influence of Disney and video games. Australian contemporary artist Ben Frost's work is easily recognizable. He takes a pop art approach by mixing brand name packaging with everyday iconography. So far, we have looked into the influence of manga and street art. Another movement that assisted in the development of using comic-inspired artwork could be traced back to the lowbrow art of the 1950s and 60s and the growth of pop surrealism in the 80s and 90s. I won't go into great detail with this here, as I have another video created that I will link if interested. The pop surrealism term is attributed to Kenny Scharf, who used it to describe his own work. His works often include pop culture icons such as the Flintstones and the Jetsons. The prolific Raymond Pettibone used to ink flyers for bands like Sonic Youth and Black Flag. His work resembles images from Pulp Fiction and the narratives of comic books. Barry McGee, also known as Twist, addresses the realities of contemporary urban life with rampant consumerism and social stratification. His signature style includes a recurring male character with sagging, tired eyes, and colorful geometric patterns. Tim Biscup's playful and vibrant work has a nostalgic feel that also conveys a graphic tendency. Jon Burgerman began as a designer whose doodle-line illustrations of cute and distorted characters has now moved into galleries. Gary Baseman blurs fine art and commercial art. His narrative work often includes images of his cat and his Toby character. Gary Taxali is a Canadian artist known for his cartoon illustrations on repurposed papers, evoking vintage comics and advertising. Another Canadian artist is Joe Fleming, Using abstracted backgrounds, Fleming superimposes traces of comic characters that are partially hidden by running off the frame. Chilean artist Victor Castillo employs images based on comics and animation from his childhood that show ominous allegorical references. He frequently paints children with blank eyes, which is his metaphor for ignorance. Travis Louis' black and white artworks evoke Victorian photographic portraiture. His strange characters are from an imaginary world that convey narratives and histories. His portraits also touch upon prejudice towards immigrants and other marginalized groups as he grapples with issues of identity. Hendra Hihi Harsono is an Indonesian artist whose work is fun. Childlike characters and monsters often appear in his work. Joan Cornella is a Spanish cartoonist and illustrator known for his unsettling black humor. It would be unfair not to mention Mr. Doodle. He rocked to international fame and has garnered sales in the millions. His doodle style of squiggles, smiley faces, and simple geometry suggests a relationship and extension to the work of Keith Haring. Artists have also used comics as a source of inspiration for abstract work. We touched upon this a little bit earlier with the work of Arturo Herrera and Joe Fleming. Inka Ezenhai uses dreamlike imagery, often as a result of automatic drawing and free association. Michel Mayerus combined painting with digital media in his work using logos and icons of pop culture. Julie Moretu uses multi-layered linear illustrations to illustrate societal changes. Brazilian Rivan Neunschwinder explores language, nature, geography, the passing of time, and social interactions with her work. Through her abstract works, Sue Williams explores issues of gender and the body. Using icons and stereotypes of American popular culture, Gary Simmons creates works that address personal and collective experiences of race and class. Simmons centers much of his practice on the process of erasure, as his earlier work used chalk, and he has transferred this technique into paint. So, can comics, cartooning, and manga be fine art? Is cartooning still a waste of time? The artists featured here would beg to differ. They have used this technique as a strategy to portray narratives, blend cultures, and critique or comment on contemporary society. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and gained some insights. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, or leave a comment, question, or future video suggestion below. This has been a video production.